హలో ఎవ్రీవన్, నా పేరు అరుణ పున్నా. నేను మీ బాటనీ లెక్చరర్. తెలంగాణ స్టేట్ లో ఈ సంవత్సరం జరిగేటటువంటి ఇంటర్మీడియట్ పబ్లిక్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్స్ లో బాటనీ ఫస్ట్ ఇయర్ లో వచ్చేటటువంటి ముఖ్యమైన 4 మార్కుల ప్రశ్న జవాబును నేను మీకు ఈ వీడియో క్లాస్ లో వివరిస్తాను. ఈ రోజు టాపిక్ స్పెషల్ ఇన్ఫ్లోరెసెన్స్. Usually on special inflorescence topic in the examination, the question is in this way: describe any 2 special types of inflorescence. It's actually special inflorescences are 3: verticillaster, cyathium and hypanthodium. So based on the question, the answer only information about 2 inflorescences, that is cyathium and hypanthodium. So if you write the description about cyathium inflorescence, you will get 1.5 mark. And if you write the description about hypanthodium, you will get 1.5 mark. If you draw the diagram of cyathium, half mark. And if you draw the diagram of hypanthodium, half mark. So total for the description 3 marks and diagrams 1 mark. So total 4 marks will be given. Now I explain the topic. Actually, what is inflorescence? Inflorescence means on one single axis, number of flowers usually develop like this. So the arrangement of flowers on inflorescence axis called as inflorescence. So here 3 types of inflorescences: racemose, thymose and special inflorescence. Here in racemose inflorescence, you can see on single lengthy inflorescence axis, number of flowers are present. Usually the basal flowers first open, later the top flowers. So the flower opening from bottom to top like this. In thymose, here best example you can see in jasmine, the apical flower first open, later the basal flowers. So here flower opening usually from top to bottom like this. In special inflorescences like verticillaster, cyathium and hypanthodium, flower structure and arrangement is totally different from racemose and thymose. That is why these 3 inflorescences comes under special inflorescence. Now I teach you about the cyathium inflorescence. Usually cyathium inflorescence is present in Euphorbiaceae family. The topic best example is Euphorbia. But in Euphorbia you could not see clearly the cyathium inflorescence. That is why I took poinsettia. The nursery usually you can see these 2 plants. In poinsettia you can see at the tip of the stem group of cyathium inflorescences. When we see the diagram clearly in this, these are the number of cyathium inflorescences. Each cyathium inflorescence looks like a single flower. This cup-like structure. Each inflorescence has a small yellow colored nectar gland. This is nectar gland. Inside the nectar gland, nectar is present. Usually these nectar glands attract the insects for pollination. Now one single inflorescence clearly we will see. This is clear view of one single cyathium inflorescence. This small cup-like structure. This is nectar gland. When we take the longitudinal section like this, here longitudinal section means just it is a cup-like structure, cup in longitudinal way. The appearance like this. So here deep cup-like structure. Inside the cup you can see one single female flower and a number of male flowers are present. And here nectar gland is also present. And what is male and female flowers, one by one I will explain in detail. And involucre of bract also I will explain. Usually flowers are bisexual. Bisexual means flower contain both sex organs. Male sex organ, that means stamen, and female sex organ, that means pistil. This is the stalk of flower. Above the stalk, thalamus is present. On thalamus, floral structures are present. Those are sepals, petals, and stamen and pistil. This is bisexual flower. And some plants produce unisexual flowers. Unisexual flowers are 2 types: female flower and male flower. What is the difference? In female flower, only pistil, female sex organ only present. There is no any male sex organ like stamen. These are absent. Stamens are absent. In the same way, in male flowers, only male sex organ, that is stamens, are present. This flower could not produce female sex organ like this pistil. This pistil is absent. So now you have understood somewhat what is male and what is female flower, unisexual flowers. Now come to the structure of cyathium inflorescence. Usually in the inflorescence, the axis is very lengthy. On the lengthy axis, so many flowers are present. But in cyathium inflorescence, the inflorescence axis is not lengthy. The inflorescence axis is condensed, very short. From the tip of condensed inflorescence axis, number of flowers develop. First, in the middle, female flower is present. Around the female flower, number of male flowers are present. Already I told you what is female flower. Female flower contain only pistil. So here this is the pistil. This is ovary. These are style. These are stigmas. So this is female sex organ. But here female sex organ contain lengthy stalk. So due to presence of lengthy stalk, this female flower completely come outside from the cup-like structure. So on the lengthy stalk, you can see one line. This line indicates the reduced sepals and petals. That is why the male and female flowers are eclamitous, means naked flowers. They don't have sepals and petals. So here female flower without sepal and petal, only pistil is present. This pistil has very lengthy stalk like this. Around this female flower, number of male flowers are present. Each stamen we can consider as one single male flower. So this is male flower. So in the diagram, you can see two stamens. Male flower may contain one single stamen to many stamens. So in Cyathium, one male flower contains only one stamen. So here, so this is anther, this is filament. On each filament, you can see one line like female flower. This line also indicates the reduced sepals and petals. So male flower means flower contain only male sex organs. So this is male flower. It contain only one single stamen but don't have sepals and petals. And the male flower arrangement is monocacial sign. What is monocacial sign? First, one male flower, one stamen developed. From the base of the stamen, again another male flower, another stamen developed. Again from the base of this stamen, again another stamen developed. Again it continues like this. Every time only one single stamen base of the earlier. So that is monocacial. Mono, that means only one single flower developed. Here sign means in jasmine, already I taught you, the opening flower, we can see from top to bottom. So first top flower opens, then later the basal one. The first stamen matures first. So it produces pollen grains first. Then later this stamen liberate pollen grains. Later this one. Later this one. So the maturity of stamen also we can see from top to bottom. So this type of development and arrangement in male flowers we can see monocacial sign. And in female flower the ovary is tricorpellary syncorpus. What is tricorpellary? Have you observed at any time in kitchen by taking bendy, lady's finger? Usually in bendy, 5 chambers are there. Each chamber you can say it as one carpel. In the same way, when you cut this ovary, you can see 3 carpels like this. All these 3 carpels are completely fused. We could not separate easily. That is why we can use the term syncorpus. So here the ovary is tricorpellary syncorpus. So in the middle only one single female flower is present. Around this female flower, number of male flowers are present. Each male flower is look like a single stamen. These male flowers are arranged in monocacial sign. And all these flowers protected by deep cup-like structure, that is involucre of bracts. What is involucre of bract? So in the diagram you can see in jasmine, from base of each pedicel you can see small leaf-like structure. What is this? So this is inflorescence axis, this is flower. From base of pedicel, small leaf-like structure is present, that is called usually bract. So in this way, the female and all the male flowers also produce number of bracts. So here in the diagram you can see male and all female flowers produce number of bracts. All these bracts, they are arranged in a single whorl. All these bracts fuse and form a deep cup-like structure like this. So this deep cup-like structure formed due to fusion of number of involucre of bracts. This involucre of bracts only protect the flowers. And this involucre of bract contain nectar gland, which produce nectar, which attracts the insects for pollination. Now I explain about the Hypanthodium inflorescence. Usually in ficus species, that means Marri Chettu, Medi Chettu, Ravi Chettu, Juvi Chettu, like those in ficus species, Hypanthodium inflorescence is very common. So these are the Hypanthodium inflorescences which are look like fruit-like inflorescence. Cyathium is flower-like inflorescence and Hypanthodium is fruit-like inflorescence. These inflorescence usually after fertilization developed into fruit-like structure. This is Hypanthodium inflorescence. When you take longitudinal section, the appearance is like this. So here you can see some small apical pore. Usually in the inflorescence, lengthy inflorescence axis is present. On the inflorescence axis, number of flowers are present like this. But here the lengthy inflorescence is condensed. That means become very short and form a fleshy cup-like structure like this. So this is complete inflorescence axis which is condensed and form fleshy deep cup-like structure and has some small apical pore. This inflorescence axis has a small cavity inside the inflorescence axis. Inside the cavity, 3 types of flowers are present. Here the flowers are unisexual. That means female flower, male flower and gall flowers. Already I taught you female flower means only contain pistil. These are sepals and petals and these flowers don't have stalk. Stalk is absent. If the stalk is absent, the flowers we can call as sessile. This is male flower. Male flower contain only stamens. Usually male flowers are present near the apical pore. This region contain only male flowers. And the cavity base region, this region contain only female flowers. In between, that means between male and female flowers, gall flowers are present. Gall flower means these are also female flower because here also you can see the pistil. Usually in the pistil, in the ovary, ovules are present. But in gall flower, the ovary is empty. Ovary could not produce ovules. That is why these are sterile female flowers. So sterile female flowers we can call as gall flowers. And this inflorescence axis, this is condensed and become very fleshy. That is why this part we can use as edible part. It can be used to eat. And one more interesting thing I want to explain you. In Hypanthoddium, usually pollination takes place by which insect? In my childhood, I learned one Vemana Padyam, that is Medi Pandu Chuda Melimai Undu, Potta Vippi Chuda Purugulundu. What is the reason behind that? Here, Medipandu means Hypanthoddium inflorescence. When it turned to fruit after pollination and fertilization. Pollination takes place by one kind of wasp, that is Blastophaga. It is the name of the insect. Here these are the Hypanthoddium inflorescences. Here you can see small pore at the tip of the inflorescence. This is Blastophaga insect. Usually this Blastophaga insect entered into the Hypanthoddium inflorescence through small apical pore. So usually near the apical pore only male flowers are present. These flowers produce pollen grains. While entering the Blastophaga insect, the pollen grains stick to the body parts of Blastophaga insect. And finally, this Blastophaga insect reach the bottom. Usually at the bottom, female flowers are present. So the pollen grains which are stick to the body parts of Blastophaga reach the female flowers and these flowers are pollinated. And this Blastophaga insect lay their eggs in gall flowers. Gall flowers means female sterile flowers. Here the ovary is empty. Empty means this flower could not produce ovules. That is why these Blastophaga insects lay their eggs in the empty ovaries. Then the eggs are hatched and larvae come out. These larvae gradually developed into wasps, and these wasps, by digging the wall of inflorescence and make a small pore, and through that pore the insect come outside and flew away and reach another Hypanthoddium inflorescence. In this way, by Blastophaga wasp, Hypanthoddium inflorescence is pollinated, and by the Hypanthoddium inflorescence, Blastophaga complete its reproduction. This is about Hypanthoddium inflorescence. So if you like this video, please share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.